Action. What's up, bro?
Chilling, bro.
How's it going?
It's going well.
Well,
Going well.
welcome to episode 8, Meet Your Makers. Let's see. Can you introduce yourself to the folks?
Of course. I'm Carrington, total generalist. Do so many different things, engineering, business, art. I'm learning Chinese right now.
Nice.
I'm always into stuff, bro. So
Nice.
keeping the brain stimulated and creativity flowing.
For sure. Yeah. So, I like to explain to people what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, so that people can have like an understanding of why they're here. So Meet Your Makers is a podcast about connecting with people who are creating the space around us.
Facts.
And essentially that's everybody, right? Like everybody has a part in creating space around us. And I'm also just right now I'm talking to people that I'm really fans of, that I enjoy spending time with, sharing space with. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love the initiative. And as you was telling me about it, I really didn't think about creators being ones who create space and opportunity, but for sure.
Yeah. So let's see. Where you coming from? Because you be traveling a lot.
I do, bro.
Yeah.
I really do. I can't sit down, bro. I don't know why. I'm always anxious, bro. Like, I don't know. But coming from Baltimore, that's why, I reside at the moment. And, I try to search for inspiration in different places. So like, in my earlier 20s, I think I was kind of heads down a lot, with work and figuring out, where my next moves were going to be. But in my 30s, bro, I just want to like travel and just check out new scenes, be inspired by different culture, different people, different locations, and not the more cliche places that you hear about all the time.
No, it's that, because you be everywhere, bro. You have an affinity towards the Asian continent.
I do, bro. We talk about
yeah, got affinity towards the Asian continent.
It's true, bro.
That's really dope. Because like, where was he? Were you in? You said Vietnam.
I was in Vietnam first. Yeah,
you was in Vietnam for a minute, right?
Yeah, for about a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that mean, hey.
Yeah.
That's what, 1/12 of a year?
Yeah.
That's a good percentage of the year.
Facts.
So then like, why Vietnam?
Yeah. Originally, honestly, bro, I wanted to go to somewhere different. So I looked at Portland, I looked at Seattle, I looked at a few other places in the States, and everything was just expensive at the time. And I started thinking about what I really wanted to do, like when I quote unquote settle down and I have more time, more money. And I was thinking like, let me check out Asia eventually, right? But then I was just curious, and I just looked up a couple different places, and I looked up Japan, I looked up, South Korea at the time, and they were also expensive. But then it was like this list of, 10 or 15 of the most inexpensive places you can travel, in Asia and different places. And Vietnam popped up, and I just kind of thought about it like, why not, bro? Like, I don't know too much about it besides the Vietnamese or Vietnam War. So I was thinking like, let me check it out. And it was like super cheap, as far as like comparing the price of food, the price of coffee, the price of the flight was relatively, inexpensive. So yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah. Dang, that's what's up, bro.
Yeah.
So then like, what was the experience like?
In Vietnam, bro, it was love. It was a lot of love in Vietnam. I remember like a lot of it was me exploring, because at the time, like I was consulting at the time and freelancing, so I was working on a few projects, but I had a lot of free time to explore. And I remember just going to different museums, different like they have different temples that are during the time in which the Chinese dynasty ruled Vietnam, because it was like this time where they were being ruled by China. So they had a lot of different temples and a lot of art, and it was a lot of other expats there as well traveling. So people coming from France, the UK, so on and so forth. But it was amazing, bro. They make some of the best drinks, by the way.
Oh, for real?
Yes, bro.
All right.
Yes.
All right, then what's one that you remember?
Gimlet.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a sour lime, and it had like salt along the rim, and but it was really good though.
Cause what's in the gimlet?
I think it's mint. I think it's mint, lime, and
damn, I'm supposed to know this.
Maybe vodka, maybe gin. I don't know.
It's only
gin.
It's only because I know what a French gimlet is. French gimlet is, I think, it's they use elderflower liqueur.
Got it. Yeah,
and a French gimlet, because it has like a different sweetness to it.
Facts.
But I think a regular gimlet is like it's like a gin sour with like lime and then simple syrup.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was really good. Yeah.
Nice. So then, okay, what other countries have you been to on the Asian continent?
Been to South Korea, and Japan. I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And so like, cause you started out when you was like, before you was like, okay, I was looking at like Pacific Northwest, Pacific Northwest of the United States. And then he was like, let me look at South Korea and Japan. It was expensive. Yeah. So then like, what's the affinity for the Asian continent?
Yeah, bro. You know what it is? I think you kind of know me to be a contrarian when it comes to like doing what everyone else is doing, right? And being different in the individual and not wanting to just walk the same path that other people have walked. You know, I like to try new things and experience things for myself. I like to form my own opinion about stuff as well, right? So Asia to me was always a place, like, especially like East Asia, was always a place that very few people spoke about, very few people had like gone and came back and talked about, you know, like it was just definitely one of those places that I feel like we're influenced by via anime, manga, you know, kung fu movies.
No, for sure.
Even like some of the different food spots we go to, like we kind of have it around us, we're adjacent to it, but we never think of going to China. We never really think of going to Japan, or, you know. Yeah. So it was one of those things where I was like, yo, I'm into, you know, anime. I'm into just like Asian architecture, Asian art, history in general. Like you think about the Han Dynasty and the three kingdoms that exist in China many hundreds of centuries ago, right? But there's a lot of historical nuance to China and how they kind of ruled their land, and even south of where they are as well. And there's still implications of that today, you know, hence Vietnam. But I think it's just been a lot of history that I kind of was exposed to, like via video games. So you have Dynasty Warriors, which is like solely focused on China. You have Samurai Warriors, which is focused on Japan. And, you know, you play these different video games, you read comics, you do this stuff. So anyway, you kind of grow up imagining like what it would be like traveling to these places. And I think once I was able to like say, you know, Europe is kind of overrated, it's hyped up. Like everybody want to go to France. Everybody want to go, you know, even Germany now, right? So I was thinking like, where could I go that will be different and still be me, you know, authentic to me. So it's kind of how I thought about it. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Let me see. I'm about to move your mic.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Nice one, yeah. Cool. Yeah, so no, that's what's up, bro. So if that's one thing I've always admired about you is like being a contrarian, because like I would say I'm similar.
I would say you are.
I feel like I still do stuff like. No, I say I'm similar.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's just like I think you have like I just say I'm similar. In that like, I don't do stuff the same way. It's just where, especially recently, And I think that's one thing. Recently, I had a conversation with somebody just about maximizing where you are, to really know what you want, right? So like even this space right here is just like, oh, bro, like I could have left it as it was, but I was like, nah, let me see. Let me see if I make this into the best possible situation, what I would, if there's anything that I would still change. I was like, yeah, there's stuff that I would still change.
Facts.
So it's like, okay, cool. But I know that once I change that stuff, I can still take so much stuff with me, because I maximize where I was at the moment.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what I see in a lot of stuff that you do, is just like you maximize where you are. And then if there's anything that you want to change after you've maximized, then you change that. And so it's like, all right, bet. Maximize where I was. Cause like you've been doing, cause like, cause where are you at in your career now versus where you started?
Yeah. Great question, bro. Yeah, it's weird because at a macro level, bro, it's like, I'm in technology, right? You know, as a, you know, day-to-day 9 to 5, I'm programming, I'm engineering different websites, different applications, front end, back end, so on and so forth, right? And at a macro level, a lot is changing. You know, a lot is changing due to AI. A lot is changing due to just automating and automating different functions within a company. So having an AI assistant co-pilot for HR, an AI assistant co-pilot for marketing. So a lot of different professions that we went to school for, that we learned about, that we, you know, have been operating in for the last 5 to 10 years. Yeah. A lot has changed really quickly. So at a macro level, it's a lot of dust being kicked up, right? But at a micro level, I'm still kind of doing consultancy and working on my startup full time, and basically trying to figure out, like, you know, where's the value. So I think, you know, to answer your question, it's kind of like where I started was, is still pretty close, but where I started was, you know, I wanted to work at Google. I wanted to work at Facebook or Meta. I wanted to work at these big tech companies and, you know, see what that was like. And I never imagined that I would, you know, do consultancy or even do startups. Yeah. I always wanted to do startups, but I was thinking like long term, you know, versus where I am today is like, oh, like a lot of things are more accessible to me because I'm always taking risks. You know me, like I'm like, all right, how can I get out of this situation I'm in and figure out what's the easiest path to create like a new product, to reimagine a new market, create, because I get a lot of enjoyment out of like the novelty of it, you know what I mean? So, and I think startups allow you to think of a new application in your mind and want to bring it to life without anyone like being in your way and you having to get permission from your manager or a boss or something like that.
No, for sure.
So that's kind of where I be thinking about it.
Yeah, and I'm a similar way too. Where it's just like, but like the beauty. That's why I like talking to people who make things, because it's like the beauty of having an idea and then bringing it into like the physical realm.
Yes.
It's like, yo.
It's amazing.
Like,
it's addictive.
Yeah. You be like, oh. You be like, ooh, dang, that junk, oh, that looked tough.
Yeah.
Ooh, let me see how I could do it.
Yep.
And then you do it, and you're like, ooh, let me see how I could do it differently. Let me see how I could do it better. Let me see how I could, what's one thing that I can change?
Yep.
Like, even with the bar, I'm like, if somebody asked me to build this same junk, I'd be like, no, I can't do that, bro. Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm already, this is like my third iteration of a bar.
Facts.
Right? Yeah. And this is the best one yet.
Yep.
And it's like, but if you ask me to do it again, that one would be my best one.
Exactly, yeah.
Like every time you ask me to do it, it's gonna be my best one. So every time, I mean, the price go up, but it's like, but every time, because I'm getting better. Every time you do it, you get better.
Yeah.
Like I went to a studio opening recently. It was like it was some young men. They probably like 24, 25. And like talking to them, I'm like talking to them, and I was like, ooh, I'm not their target market. And so like any criticism that I give isn't from their target audience.
What was that target audience?
Like their age range.
Yeah.
I think, but I told them, I was like, look, there's like any advice you can give. I was like, yeah, focus on the people who think you're good right now. Because those are the people who are going to come to you for your work. But as you keep doing your repetitions, you get better. And the people who don't think you're good now will think you're good as you keep doing the thing.
Yeah.
So just keep doing the thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
I feel that. I do want to push back on that though,
What's
right?
up?
Right. I think it's too much focus on the latter part. It's like the idea of doing something so that people will like it, even if it's your mom, because your mom might be your first fan, your sister, your brother. Like there's like this balance that me myself, right? I'm probably speaking like where I'm in my life, right? I'm trying to focus less on, who deems what I'm doing as worthy, and just find that validation in what you just said, the growth of the iterations, right? You iterate through this bar, second bar, third bar. And even as we were talking earlier, you were thinking the enhancements you can do to this bar, right? And I feel like that's way more of an enjoyable process of creation versus thinking like, how can I create the next bar and hope that people will be impressed by it? Or when people do come in, they are impressed by it. You know what I mean? It's like changing your psyche on that.
No, I feel that. I didn't think about that interpretation of it, because that's first
part. That's kind of where I come from.
Yeah, because the first part that you said, that's how I meant it. Where it's just like, nah, just keep doing the thing, and like keep doing the thing that you enjoy doing, but the benefit of that, I was saying, is like, people who don't think you're good now will have no other choice but to agree that you're good as you keep going.
But is that a real benefit though?
When you want people to spend money on you, yeah, because like,
and they want it, because
they're in photography, and like they're in media production, and so it's like,
so they're creating for an output of production. I got you.
Yeah. So they're doing media production. We're just,
I thought they were just doing something, and
Oh no, they're looking to like, because they just invested money into a studio.
Got it.
And so they're looking for people to come and utilize the studio space and do all these things in the studio space. Right. Like, but right now, focus on the people who think you're good.
Facts.
Because those are the people who will come to this space. And as you keep having those people come to the space, you'll keep getting better and better. You'll be like, ooh, I can adjust this, I can adjust this, Facts. I can adjust this, I can adjust this.
Yeah.
And be like, dang, I want it to look like this now. Yeah. And as you keep getting better and better and better, more people will think you're good, and your audience will continue to grow.
Understood.
And so it's just like, wow, just keep doing the thing, bro.
Yeah. I still struggle with that.
Yeah.
Now, like before, I think I was all about like doing things for an outcome, you know, like money, a certain amount of users, certain amount of customers. All that stuff is still important, especially as a founder. You have to think about that.
Yeah.
But I do think there is like a lot of value, especially like in my field, to just experimenting with the expectation of like finding something awesome and being able to, use that as a catapult, right? Yeah. But a lot of I think before, as a founder, when I was in my 20s, I always looked at like, before I even start anything, I'm thinking about how much it can make. I'm thinking how many people are going to use it. I'm thinking about, the respect.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about all the benefits before you even start. Wow. So you kill a lot of ideas before you even get to the point of starting, because you're like, oh, no, that's a bad idea. Nobody's going to buy that. That's a bad idea. That's not going to work. You go after the one that looks, quote unquote, obvious, but that typically is the worst idea you can do, because if you just experiment it, you can figure out like what works. What works.
Yeah. No, for sure. Because I've at this point, I tell people, they be like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm an artist, bro.
Yeah.
I make art. Everything I do is art. whether it's business, carpentry, photography, videography, bartending, everything is art. Communication is art, everything. Because it's like, at a certain point, like you said, what I've wanted to get out of certain things has changed. It's like at a certain point, bro, I just want you to have a conversation.
Yep.
So I can make anything that's gonna make you have a conversation.
Facts.
It's like,
Yes,
like
it's
when
true.
we did the living room. I was telling somebody yesterday, I'm like, bro, I had no clue it was gonna be like this. What I expected wasn't this. But we had probably 50, 60 people outside of that space at one point.
That's a lot.
And I'm like, and I was expecting to be able to have conversations with people about what we created. I was like, no, there's way too many people.
Yeah.
I felt like it was going to be like more like an exhibit where I could take the time to explain to people what was happening.
Yeah.
And it was just like, nope.
Bum rushy.
Nope. And I mean, it's a beautiful thing, but it's like, now it's like, oh, bet. Now I'm like, okay, I have to put parameters on it. If that's the experience I want, I got to put parameters on it. But I'm also like, damn, I can have events where niggas just pull up and we just have a good time.
Yeah, facts.
And I'm like, oh. So, nah, okay, bet. So then, let me see. So we talk about travel, talking about business. So what startup you working on right now?
Yeah, you might remember last year, I was basically hitting you up to say like, hey, I'm working on generating avatars in AI, right? Using, your face and different poses, stuff like that. So what came out of that was a lot of experimentation, like learning, different image models or diffusion models, learning different ways that you can use AI to generate images, right? In different contexts, different art styles, different different compositions, stuff like that, right? And from there, I started just like circling around the web and seeing like, yo, it would be cool to make like little stories about, a kid's book, or different stories that appeal to adults, or different stories that appeal to different people. So I started like playing around with that a lot. And I arrived to this idea of like, yo, like, wouldn't it be cool to create comic books, the same type of comic books that I used to read when I was younger, Marvel, DC. So I started like trying to mimic Marvel comic style, because they have like basically a whole catalog of comics that you can look at. So I started like, downloading those and trying to figure out like how I can mimic different art styles. But it was a lot of experimentation anyway. And then that evolved to wanting to like help out my cousin, who she's a writer. She came to me and was like, hey, like, do you think you can create images for some of my children's books? Because I've been trying to get an artist, but haven't been able to nail a reliable artist for these issues that I'm creating. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll try it. At that time, I didn't know how to go about it. So I just kept studying. And then I started getting a little bit more traction and success. Oddly enough, when I went to Asia, I started getting more like understanding of how I could build it. So then I started building, different short stories and stuff like that. So the idea is, the company's called Unblock, and the idea is to create visual storytelling stories in a novel way, basically using AI, right? And that materializes as comics, children's books, as well as manga.
Nice. Yeah. I like the way you said that, bro.
Yeah.
Because like, I be talking to business owners and be like, what do you do? And they be like, and they be stuck.
Yeah.
And it's like, so like to hear you have like, hey man, this is what we do.
Yeah.
This is the physical product that we produce. And then hopefully at a certain point, like as you produce more, then you'll be able to connect it with like, this is the impact.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
like,
100%.
And so like when people come to you, they can have what, how, and then the why.
Yeah.
All throughout the process. And it's like that helps you communicate with the niggas that you need to communicate with.
100%.
So no, that's what's up, bro. So like Because look, I ain't done nothing. I've done limited work with AI.
Yeah.
Very limited work.
Oh,
so
wait, before we even get there, let's go back to the initial request that I made a year ago. Me knowing you, I already know, like, okay, it's Owen, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's Owen. This is like technology that has this ability, to do some things. So, what was your initial reaction when I hit you up about it?
I was like, I'm good, bro. No, only because. So look, bro, I have an iPhone 7 Plus.
Yeah.
I have a MacBook from 2013, and I have an iMac from 2012.
Yeah,
I have I have my main like photography camera is a camera that was released in like 2016.
Gotcha.
And my main video camera is a camera that was released in 2017.
Yeah.
I don't do new technology.
I feel you.
Like,
I mean, like, if you can have it your way, you probably wouldn't do technology at all.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, hey, bro, give me the only real technology that I really be wanting to use is power tools.
Okay, yeah.
Because like,
because that
I'm not
is
trying.
why, it's too low.
The real like talking about the Asian continent though. Looking at Japan's carpentry skills,
bro,
and like the architecture that they get from those carpentry skills without using like nails, screws. Like I think they use power tools now, but like for the longest time, no power tool. I'm like,
it all lock and fit.
Yeah, and it just the measurements gotta be perfect. But I'm like, oh yeah, I could. Yeah, that's tough.
That's the wave.
That's tough.
It's efficiency though, right? Like at its core, right? Like. And it's funny because when I hit you up, I already knew that. I was like, yo, because we already had so many talks about, cell phones and everything else, right? So I'm like, okay. But I felt like the worst you could say is no. And if you say yes, it's a special, like, use case with Owen and people that are like Owen, right? Like, just from a business standpoint, I'm thinking, okay, if I can get Owen to use it, and he sees the value in it, I mean, everybody ain't mother gonna see the value. Yeah. Even if he doesn't use it, even if he uses it this one time, then I can at least draw something from that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, I was just trying to like experiment and see if I can monetize it, see like if it had any value, because I was so fascinated with it. And I think the whole world was at the time. Like a year ago, that's all we saw on our feed, bro.
That was it, bro. And I was like... I know for a fact that you could like Bammers you can go on my Instagram right now, take a picture off, throw it in the jump, and do it. And I'm just like, if you want to do that, take it. I'm not gonna participate. You can have it. It's there for you to use it if you want. Yeah, I'm good, bro. Cause you know me, I'm like, even I'm an in-person type of person. Yeah, we're just like. If I'll be honest, a lot of people don't know this, but if I'm not about to see you within like a week or 2 weeks, I'm not about to talk to you. I'm like, what you mean? Like, if we're not setting up time to see each other in person, out of mind, out of sight. Yeah. I'm not about to. I'm not out of sight, out of mind. And so people be like, dang, he just be leaving. I'm like, bro, we not setting nothing up to talk to. We not setting up. We going to talk on the phone. We going to FaceTime. Like, bro, I'm not about to keep doing this. I'm not about to have a relationship where I'm not seeing people in person. Yeah. If I'm not about to see you in person, I'm like, just hit me up when I'm going to see you in person.
Yeah, I get it, bro. Like, you're definitely a empath, I would say. Yeah. And the whole AI wave, it lends itself more towards like innovation and, it's kind of, it's removing the human aspect in some ways. But, another way you can look at it is that it's democratizing, the ability to create for a lot of people who wouldn't be able to create and just visually see or even just interact, in regards to like GPT or Chat GPT. Like, we didn't even talk about that, we just was focusing on the images, but it's creating a lot of opportunity for people to like get a lot further with ideas, right?
Yeah.
So you can have an idea for a book and you're like kind of stuck on, you know, the plot or the narrative arc, the story arc, right? And you just need some help to kind of get past that writer's block. Or you might just, you know, a lot of people are using it in their daily jobs and stuff like that to handle administrative tasks, emails, and, you know, properly clean up different memos and stuff like that. So it's a lot of different use cases, and I get it. Like, why someone like you would be apprehensive to technology, and especially AI, because it's distancing ourselves even more from human and human creativity, if you will. But I don't know, bro. You can't stop it. One, and it's the Pandora's box is already open.
No, it's not.
You know, and I think that we have to understand the implications of it. We have to understand the thought leaders or people who have created these technologies. What was the initial usage of it, and how that's being, you know, used, you know, in different ways. Just so we have those data points, so that we can properly position ourselves 5 years from now, you know, as a community. You know what I mean? Because I was telling you about my trip to San Francisco, and it was like, yo, we wasn't represented out there, bro.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure we're out there. I'm sure we're out there, but I didn't see us out there. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
No, I feel that. So like, I guess my other thing too is like, so like I said, I used it when I was building my website. So Squarespace has.
We gotta talk about that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Squarespace has an AI tool. So like you can, like it just like paragraphs, sales pitches, and like different things, and you just type in the prompt.
Yep.
But so here's the other thing too, right? So I have one of my friends. She's a teacher in DC.
Okay.
She teaches 9th grade English and language arts.
Nice.
Right. And it's a charter school, DC. And one thing that she told me was like, the students want to use ChatGPT, they want to use AI, but they can't even write a full proper sentence.
Word.
Subject, predicate,
wow,
direct object, indirect object. Like they can't run through a full sentence to get out of it.
Wow, that is crazy.
What they would need to. So like if you can't even communicate in a way that AI can understand to produce what you want, you're never going to get out of it what it's fully capable of.
That's wild.
And so like I'm like, wait a minute. Cause like in order to get what I wanted to get out of it for my website, I'm like, explain this. And so like I have a level of knowledge that allows me to type it in to get out what I want. And then I have a level of knowledge to read what it puts out, comprehend what it puts out, and then make appropriate changes
100%.
To fit what I needed to fit. And it's like, bro, if we keep moving forward with stuff and forgetting like that there's these groups of people who it's like,
that's a fact.
It's like, okay, then if they can't even put in to get out what it's capable of, not to say, I'm just saying like this is another reality of it as well. Not to say like, stop using it because
100%.
But it's like no, this is another reality that's present as the advent of AI continues. And if like we start to move to these more, like you said, people use it at their everyday jobs. Like imagine they just at a certain point it's like, oh, we need an AI input expert. I'm just like, hey, bro, like. We need one person that can put in prompts and get out what we need and then send it to someone else that can like distribute it the way that it needs. It's like, all right, what about these kids who can't even read?
Yeah. But that's powerful though. I didn't think of that. That's crazy. I mean, at the heart of it is an ethics issue, right? Like how do you justify the trillions of dollars, let's say, that will go into investments that all pertain to AI. Let's say hundreds of billions. Trillions might be a lot too much, but let's say hundreds of billions of dollars that will go into AI development in the next 5 years, but that's not going into the schools, resources are being allocated, for that, but it's wild, bro. That's wild. I didn't think about that. I'm still processing it.
And but she as a teacher, she uses AI all the time. She uses AI for her lesson plans. And I'm like, yeah.
And for the kids, it's almost like having a Ferrari or a Lamborghini in front of you. Mm-hmm. And you don't know how to start it. Mm-hmm. You don't know how to read the dashboard. You don't even know, the proper mechanics of the steering wheel.
You don't even know how to open the door.
You don't know how to, it's crazy. It's like, wow.
I don't got no door handle. What am I supposed to do?
Right.
And you stuck and you be like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's just like, he's pretty. He's looking at it. And you see it working for other people. Other people are having fun and driving it. So that's a grim, reality.
Yeah.
The disparity.
And then to your point of us not being represented in places like San Francisco, it's like the large majority of, I don't even know, because I don't live a white experience.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with one dude. He's like, yeah, I don't live a white experience, so I can't speak on it. But for the Black experience, it's for us, I guess, even the reality that a large percentage of African Americans can't read.
Yeah. Or
I'll say melanated Americans. Mm-hmm. But a large percentage of melanated Americans can't read. Mm-hmm. And it's but we're not changing our strategies so that they can learn.
Right.
And a lot of times I'll be feeling guilty because I'm like, dang, as an educated
Black man,
I'm like, dang, I should go teach. But I'm like,
I see it both ways though, bro. You can make that assertion that every able-bodied Black man who has graduated from an HBCU or some university or just educated in general, not necessarily the traditional school route, should go in the community and help anyone in need. But it's that's a burden, bro. No matter what, that's a burden. And in order to do that, you have to have some autonomy on the community. You know what I mean? You have to have some say-so in the community. There's no, the reason why we're given responsibility is because we have power, we have control over something. You're responsible of your body, but you're also empowered to do whatever you want with your body, right? In your mind and your heart and everything else, right? But in the community, it's different because when you don't have a say into a child's life, because let's say you do go back and you help all these kids, right? And God willing, you can help 10% of them out, right? Mm-hmm. Still another 90% of them that can't read, right? And even out of that 10%, you have to make sure that what they're learning is being reinforced at home, right? So it's not like an individual problem, it's a community problem. Yeah. So Black men doing that is just one little Band-Aid to a larger problem of it's the family structure. You know what I'm saying? It's probably the scarcity of resources that child is experiencing or his family's experiencing. It's a lot of other issues behind the scene that make that job just may not be it may not be the right approach for it. It's a solution, but it's not the right solution.
So that's it. So then that's the other thing I'll be thinking about too is what strategies, because I think the same thing. I'm bro, if I can go teach, and I would be a phenomenal teacher.
Facts.
But teaching students in a system that continuously fails them as soon as they move past a good teacher.
Yes.
It's we gotta do something else. We gotta put some. So if we're not going to change the system, we gotta change our inputs because we know the system. We keep putting the same thing in, and then we be surprised that we get the same thing out. And it's no, that's how systems work. Yeah. You eat food, you take a shit.
100%.
That's how systems work.
If you're not taking a shit, there's something wrong.
There's something wrong with what you're putting in.
Right.
The system hasn't changed.
Yeah.
It's no. So then it's okay, what are the outputs that we're wanting?
Yeah.
And then based on the system that we're in, what can we put in to get this out? And it's we see there are statistics that say having a teacher who looks like you in the classroom is beneficial to your growth. as a student. And so like, okay, bet. But then it's like, when do we reach a plateau, right? Like you put something in, at a certain point, the output reaches a plateau and you're still getting this baseline at the plateau. And then you do it again. Like when you work out, if you use 10-pound weights the whole time, you're going to plateau and you'll be like, damn, what's going on? I'm like, bro, you've been lifting 10-pound weights for 10 years.
But give me an example of in the academic context, like what does plateauing look like for the child that sees, let's say a black boy sees a black man teacher, where does that black boy plateau out at?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Have we seen inputs
it's not enough.
from like early childhood education all the way through like university. And it's like, dang, I seen either black women or black men from early childhood to middle school to high school to college.
I'm sure
to even like to the point where like, oh, I can get my master's, and I'm like, oh dang, my doctorate professors look like me, or have some connection with me. But then, like I said, with this All American Art Show, it's like, like how do we like stop focusing so much on this and focus on the fact that, oh, you breathe air? Oh, I breathe air too.
Facts.
Nice. Let's connect off of that.
Yeah, that has to be a part of it, right? I was just about to say that, right? Like we may not have examples of that, but maybe we can look at other cultures that do have examples of that. And it's probably more apparent with white people, obviously. They're the dominant, group of people in America. But maybe there's also an Asian variant of that or Hispanic variant of that. Who knows, right?
But then also, I mean, like, if we're looking at the microcosm of the United States of America, and like, because when we look at the world and we look at like cultures who have from like start to finish, like teachers who are like of that, but then it's like, hey, we look at the African continent, where melanated people are the dominant in that culture. It's like we keep learning capitalism. And
explain that to me.
So like we keep learning, like we continue to learn like capital. It feels like we continue to learn capitalism.
But it looks different I don't know. You've been in the thick of it, and because you went to Ghana, was that 2 years ago, a year ago?
Yeah, 2021.
Yeah, so you was in the thick of like the economy and meeting different people. When I went to South Africa, it was on some party, have fun type stuff. It wasn't me going. You went by yourself, so you kind of controlled your.
I went with one of my boys. We did the first 6 weeks. I was with him, and then the last 6 weeks, I was like just out there by myself.
But did you feel like it was a capitalistic, cutthroat society as it is? Like comparable to America? What?
The family unit it felt like the family units were more close knit. Like I filmed a birthday party. I filmed a 20-year-old's birthday party. That was cool. I attended a funeral. I also filmed a naming ceremony, and it was like this. I attended these things with one person, and like he was just popping into like different pockets of his family. Like the block that I stayed on, like it was like the autonomy that they had over the community, like you said earlier, the autonomy that they had over there in their communities. Like it was like, oh, if we change this, then it changes for us.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Where like at one point, motorcycles they would just zoom down the street, and it was like, man, we keep calling them, tell them to build speed bumps, and they was like, we'll do it ourselves. And like a week later, I think I left. I gone to Cape Coast for for 3 days. Or no, I went to Quetta and like closer to the eastern region, and came back, did like a 3-day trip, came back. and they had speed bumps.
Nice.
I was like, who did the speed bumps? He's like, no, we did it ourselves. And so like motorcycles still trying to zoom past that jump.
Yeah.
But they getting crushed by the speed bumps that the community built. And it's like they have more autonomy over that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And so like, although capitalism is present because like they still need to make money for stuff, there's still this autonomy over their communities. And so when they leave their communities, they're like, oh, bet we gotta do capitalism. But when they come back to community, it's like, nah, bro, we here.
Yeah.
And it's us.
Yeah.
And we
I think
doing what we need to do.
So you would say they're more collective. They're more of a collective society, even though capitalism is practiced.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Cause like I can't go like right now, like I would go out and everybody just be chilling on the block and like walk down the block, everybody saying what's up, everybody's connecting. One person in the backyard has like a little restaurant joint. And so I like my last meal was in the person's backyard. And like you gotta pay for it, but like it's still like, oh, this is like, oh yeah, so and so got a restaurant, so we just go eat here.
Gotcha.
They'll play soccer on Sundays, but it's all people who live on the same street, go play soccer, have a good time. Like the funeral, there was one that when I went to the funeral, there was a funeral at the top of the street and one at the bottom of the street. And then like we just showed up, went to the jump, food, drinks, everything is just like, oh, bet we all doing this stuff together. And it's like they not related, but they're together. And when they leave that community, then they're like, okay, got practice capitalism.
Understood.
But when we're here, we're together. And so like, I don't think a lot of times we have that space to escape capitalism together.
That's a great point, yeah.
And so like, even in our own communities, we're still having to practice capitalism.
Yeah. And the effects of it, right, influences how we look at each other. Which is, you know, we've been talking about liqueur and different spirits, and this is black owned, this is black owned, this is black owned. You know, those 2 bottles of wine, like I was happy, like the feeling of going to a black owned bar and then buying black owned wine was like amazing, you know, because I'm typically like, you know, like I'm celebratory, I drink, whatever, it's cool, right? But I think, you know, even in that interaction of going there and participating, you still feel like, yo, there's not enough connectedness between you and the person who owns the place, if that makes sense. Because I think there's always like this idea of like, yo, we're practicing capitalism and we can practice some sense of collectivism is what I would say, right? But there's a boundary, right? Like, because I don't want you to take advantage of me. You don't want me taking advantage of you. And we're all, because no matter what, we're always trying to outstatus each other, right? One up each other, either in worth or whatever. Like, there's always these quote unquote monkey games that we're playing. So in an interaction that you have with someone, whether it's at a coffee shop, black owned coffee shop, black owned bar, you're still trying to figure out where that person's coming from. Like, can I be vulnerable with this person? And it's not about them using me or me using them. So there's always like this barrier. You know,
it's like we look at each other. It's like, but I don't want to always have to look at people who look like me as an opportunity.
Exactly. Either an opponent or opportunity.
Right. I'm like, bro, like
that's crazy. It's exhausting.
Like I literally want to be like, what's good, bro?
Exactly.
And literally mean, bro.
That's it. Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be like, dang, like, oh, what can I get from him? What can I get from him? Or like what you got? What you got?
Yeah.
I'm like, bro.
It's exhausting, right? But that's
I'm like, bro.
and that's what I mean by collectivism. Like in Ghana, like was the collectivism so strong that the capitalism was just like, you know, that's what we do. That's how we make money. But the way that we live life is together, is being vulnerable, is being loving. And I think that's the beauty of it, right? Like
I gotta spend more time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I was looking for in Asia, bro.
Because there's still like there's still a strong desire from people on the continent to come here.
Right. But you know why they want to come here?
Yeah, because it's the land of gold. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Like
their perception of it, yeah.
They'd be like, oh, the streets are paved in gold. And I'd be like, They're not. I mean, I have one dude, when I came back, that's when I started working at Buffalo Wild Wings. So it's probably like, October 2021. And one of my boys, I told one of my boys, I was like, yeah, bro, I would like to help people get here, because it's very easy for us to go from America to Ghana and go experience, but it's very difficult for them to go from
100%
Ghana. And then Ghana being seemingly one of the more advanced, I would say, and advanced meaning more Western countries on the continent, at least from what I've seen. Yep. It's difficult for them to come here. One, because the exchange rate when I was there was 1 to 6.
Yeah.
Right.
1 to 6.
And so like a lot of people are there making like 400 CDs. Right now the exchange rate is probably like 1 to 11. So let's say you make 400 CDs in a month. When I was there, 400 divided by 6 is what? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 6, 36, 40, $66.
Yeah.
It's roughly like $60 to $70 a month.
Right.
How much is a ticket? One way, 600.
Facts.
So
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Like way more than that.
Exactly. So it's just like if you have to buy a plane ticket to come here,
right,
you gotta work for 10 months and spend no money.
That's crazy.
And so like one of the things that I was experiencing there was like,
it's crazy.
There's a man who does security who makes 400 CDs, but the place that he's working security at costs $1,200 a month. It's like, bro, you're securing a place that you can't even afford to stay at.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why am I here?
Yeah.
And so like, I was like, I want to make it easy. And like, I would like to make it easier for people to do like a exchange program, basically set up like an exchange program. And one of my boys, he told one of the dudes, I'm like, bro, you can't just tell people that because you get their hopes up.
Yeah.
And it's like, unless you have a solid plan to deliver to them, it's like, bro, you can't, like you just getting their hopes up for nothing. But he would call me, he's like, yeah, bro, I'm just trying to come, get my driver's license and start driving. And then hopefully I can make $1 million. I'm like, I like your hope.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not as sweet as you think it is.
Yeah.
It's not. But I'm also understanding that my historical perspective
both
of this,
allows. Yeah.
My historical perspective of this country is one of oppression rather than opportunity.
Yeah.
For a lot of immigrants, their perspective of this place is of opportunity. And so they come here with a completely different mindset where it's just like they come and like whatever they can do, they're doing it, going, because they know they see opportunity. For me, my historical context with this place is a place of oppression. And so it comes from a different perspective, which is why I tell a lot of times I tell like first generation immigrants, I'm like, yeah, bro, our historical context to this place isn't the same.
Do you feel like your context is changing? From going from,
I think so. I think there's still like a lot of stuff to like overcome. But it is changing.
Yeah.
And I think also learning about my personal historical context is helping change that.
Yeah.
Like my great grandmother is full white.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, full
That's
white.
Crazy.
Her mom
on your mom's side or your dad's?
On my mom's side. Her mom is from Germany, and then her dad was from Canada. So my great grandmother is German. My great grandfather is Canadian.
What kind of Canadian? Like it's a lot of
like
mixture in Canada.
So like if Michigan is here, they were like right here. So like right across.
I mean, what ethnicity is your great grandfather?
White.
Oh, he's white as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I'm like, damn.
That's wild.
Yeah. So like, I'm like, damn. Okay. So how does that shape my personal historical context as it pertains to like these things? And they were married in like, I think like the 1930s or something like that. Before interracial marriage was legalized.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, okay, like what does that look like?
Yeah.
I'm like searching, like what does that look like for them? How do they even get to this point?
Yeah.
But
we got a lot of work to do, bro.
Yeah.
We got a lot of work to do.
But like there's a lot of historical context that we just like, we were like, I was talking to my mans about this yesterday with the American art show. It's just like, yeah, bro, like it's not all white people, not all black people, you can't, these things are not monolithic.
Mm-hmm.
The system, like separating the people from the system so that you can engage with the people in a way that is separate from the system. The same way as like you said with the collectivism versus capitalism. It's like, yeah, we do that because we know we have to, but when we get over here, this is how we live.
Yeah, and I think, dang, bro, hitting on so much good stuff, yo. The collectivism, if we can, so when I went to Asia, right, I didn't expect there to be, I mean, I kind of knew like, you know, these are monolithic societies and, you know, they're very homogeneous. Like you have 99% Japanese, 99% Korean, South Korean, whatever, like Vietnamese, whatever, right? Which benefits them because there's more of like classism versus like, with, you know, they kind of have clans and different last names. It depends on where you are. But in general, like there's a nationalistic pride behind everything they do, right? So one of the reasons why China is so powerful is because they have a government that can kind of put a lot of things into play. But also the people have a really strong sense of Chinese nationality, but also Chinese history, and feeling like, yo, it's them against the world in a way, right? And I think that collectivism in Asia is to be like, from our standpoint, because we kind of grew up in a very individualistic society, communities, even family. Like families now, everyone does their own thing. Like, and that's kind of like the American way, but it's hyper individualistic in our communities. So I think us practicing collectivism, which we have been like a lot in the last 10, 15 years. So I give credit to a lot of different pockets and communities, especially in the DMV. But I think overall, like we have to like realize that the country isn't going to change for us. So when we look at that oppressive historical context, that's us looking at it.
Yeah.
Other people ain't looking at it, whether they immigrants, whether they were born here, because they're just so far removed from that and they're looking at everything as an opportunity, right? But if we kind of stay in the spot of like, yo, we have all this historical context in which we've been oppressed, which is legitimate, right? But how much is that going to benefit us in moving forward and realizing, yo, collectivism can get us this much healing and opportunity, and then the capitalism can do this much with everything else. Bro. You know, what I mean? It's an interesting like play of like,
I'm already hit.
You know, where we are, where we've been, and where we need to go. So,
because it's like you start talking about, then you start talking about economy, and different stuff like that, where it's just like, we just, I tell you afterwards, bro. I tell you, it's not the format. That's not for them, bro. That's not for them. But like, so yeah, then this. I mean, this is how we talk all the time.
Yeah, it is actually. It really is.
Let me see. Cause I'm like, cause we haven't, cause like, but yeah, this is. I mean, this is the heart of the podcast. It's like, bro, like we are if you have the ability to think, you have the ability to create space around you. If you have the ability to create space around you, you have the ability to impact people around you. If you have the ability to impact people around you, then you gotta be held accountable to some standard of what it means, like the level of impact that we're looking to have on the people around us and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm like, it's very interesting once you like get into it for real. Dang. So like, so you said you're working on a startup, and then let's see. So then what other stuff like are you working on as well? Cause you said you can't sit still.
I can't. Ah, man. We already talked about me learning Chinese,
Yeah.
you know, in the attraction to Asian culture. But outside of that, bro, like, man, you know, fitness is always important. Just staying in tune with, like, you know, what's important to me. You know, like I've been doing a lot of social science lately. We already kind of talked about this before, but offline, right? But just social science of like the different patterns and trends that are changing within our community. Outside of that, looking at the global stage, all the geopolitical stuff happening, you know, different wars, atrocities, conflicts, different different claims to independence or claims of ownership and autonomy happening in Kenya, happening in Ghana, happening in different African countries. Studying up on history, bro, as it pertains to like World War I, World War II, like just trying to better understand the world, bro. Like when I mean I don't sit down, bro, I'm always like studying and researching something. Like it's annoying. It gets to the point it's annoying, bro. It is, bro.
No, I feel
it really
it,
is annoying.
I feel it, bro.
But it's fun though. It's fun in a way. Like it's annoying because it's what you said. Like if I haven't talked to you in 2 weeks, I'm not probably going to hit you up because my mind is occupied with other things, you know. And I want to make more time for shows and movies and pop culture, but I'm kind of like in my own lane, doing my own thing, heads down, studying, reading up on AI. It's just, I don't know, it's weird, bro, because it's kind of like in one way you feel like you're doing things like that are edifying, but another way it's a whole bunch of art shows. It's a whole bunch of like community things. It's a whole bunch of things. Even the Halloween, I didn't do anything on Halloween, bro.
Yeah, I was in the crib, bro.
Yeah. But you know, it's like, dang, people out here celebrating Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm chilling.
I be forgetting, like, when we went out yesterday, me and my boy went out yesterday for this meal, I'm like, dang, it's a lot of people out here. I'm like, oh, it's Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what people do. I'm like, I just had my head down.
It's wild, bro. And I know it's a good thing, but sometimes it doesn't feel that way. It feel like you're missing out on life, or feel like you should be more present with your friends, with your family. And it goes back to that individualism as well, right? And I try to like not be too individualistic, but sometimes you're like, yo, I gotta get this done.
Let me just.
I gotta get this off, man.
Yeah,
like,
let me put my head down real quick, and I'll come back later. But then I think also too, because like one dude we was talking to yesterday is like he just got diagnosed with ADHD.
Oh wow!
And I'm just like, no, I get it, bro. Like,
how does that work though? I hear various stories about ADD.
So I did an assessment. Okay. I was doing therapy through like the GW clinic, and I ended up doing an assessment. It was like two days for like 4 hours, and I later like got my test back. They was like, well, first of all, they was like. What about bragging points? It was like, hey, you in the results, they was like, you was like 1 point away from being like genius level IQ.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
for like
dope.
My age bracket, they was like, you was in the
awesome.
top like 5%.
That's beautiful.
For other people in your age group. I was
That's
like,
crazy.
That makes sense. That tracks.
Yeah, of course.
That tracks. Me, a G, of course. Of course.
What are you talking about?
But the funny thing, the interesting thing is like during the testing, she was messing up the timing. I was supposed to get 120 seconds for some tests, and I was only getting 90 seconds, which means it's like, oh, bet. I was like, cool.
Less time, cool.
Yeah, I had less time, and I'm still in the top three. So, but then in the assessment, it was just like, oh yeah, you might want to go get extra testing for like the ADHD stuff. And so, but for me, like as I've been doing research, I'm like, oh yeah, a lot of this makes sense. And as it begins to make more sense, as I become more aware of it, I can like do things to counteract it, for me at least.
Gotcha.
Like for me, one thing that helps is smoking weed. That helps
slow you down.
Yeah, like it helps me like be present.
Yeah.
It's like it helps me go into my body rather than being in my mind. I'm like, okay, bet. All right, oh, damn. Okay, I could feel a lot more stuff, but then it's just like, I can get, they'll be like, a lot of times they'll say ADHD is like a focus thing. Like you can't focus on anything, but it's like, no, I can't focus on things that I'm not interested in.
Got it.
If I'm interested in it, it's like jumping into the ocean. It's like, oh, I'm in it now.
Yeah.
And like, I'm in it, I'm a part of it.
I'm swimming.
And this is what I do now. And then I'll get bored and then move on to something else.
Yeah. The reason why I ask, because like, I feel like everybody has some, on the spectrum, like somewhere, because even with social media, bro, I feel like our attention span is getting lower and lower and lower. I notice it for myself, right? Like, especially if I have caffeine, I'm kind of like more jittery than normal.
Yeah.
And it's not that I can't focus, but I'm jumping from this, and that. And I was wondering, like, yo, is this ADHD or is this just me, like, consuming too much social media and,
being and expecting everything to last 6 seconds.
Exactly. Like, you just move on to the next thing. So I don't know, bro. I think it's something there, though. I had to do more research on it, but
yeah, no, for sure. So then, I guess the last thing I say is like, where can so I said, what you working on? Then like, where can, like, if people wanted to like reach out to you, connect to you, how can people do that?
Yeah, for sure. On Twitter, I'm Carden at Carden, CarrDenNN. On Instagram, Carrington Dennis. Just type in my name, first result to pop up. On YouTube, Carrington Creative. And I need to like, unify and just be consistent across platforms. But YouTube, Carrington Creative, at Carrington Creative, you'll find my YouTube channel.
Nice.
I think that's it though. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hey man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you having me, yo. It's like, sure. It's dope. I'm glad we was able to make this happen. Talking about it, yeah.
One last cheers for the
salute.
People.
Yes, sir. It's really good, by the way.
Peace.
Really good.
Yeah, man, that's episode 8.
Yeah. Peace.